Are we living in a simulation? Occult theories. It's midnight. The clock strikes 3:33. Your phone screen suddenly lights up. There's no notification, no call. Only one word appears on the screen. Wake up. But what if you thought you were already awake? What if the world you live in, this life, this body, is merely a well-crafted illusion? Today, we're merging the ancient secrets whispered through millennia with the cutting-edge theories of modern science. We'll explore the chilling question where simulation theory intersects with occult wisdom. Is what we call reality just a program? Esoteric texts that have passed down through the ages never referred to this world as real. For example, in Vedic tradition, the world is called Maya, that is, a divine illusion. Everything you see, hear, and feel may only be a mental projection. In Plato's allegory of the cave, people mistake the shadows on the walls for reality. Yet, outside, there's an entirely different world. But only a few have the courage to leave the cave. These ancient teachings were trying to tell us something. Reality may be far bigger and more complex than we perceive. Now, let's turn to Hermetic philosophy. In the famous Emerald Tablet, there's a well-known saying, "As above, so below." This is not just a metaphor. It describes the fractal nature of the universe. All levels, physical, mental, spiritual, are in harmony, just like the layers of a simulation. The first of the 7 Hermetic principles says, the universe is mental. This tells us that the entire universe is shaped by a consciousness, even created by a mind. If the universe truly has a mental nature, then everything we experience could be coded in the form of thought, just like the software behind a digital program. What about Kabbalah? In Kabbalah, reality is explained through the tree of life. This tree consists of 10 sephirot, levels of consciousness. At the bottom, there's Malkuth, the physical world. But as we ascend, we encounter universal intelligence, cosmic energy, and divine software. Some Kabbalistic scholars argue that Malkuth isn't real, but only a reflection, a hologram. In other words, the world we live in is nothing more than a reflection of higher data sources. Let's fast forward a bit to the present. Famous tech entrepreneur Elon Musk once said, "The probability that we're living in a real universe is 1 in a billion. Because if a civilization reaches the level where it can create simulations, it will do so repeatedly, and the conscious beings within those simulations wouldn't know whether their universe is real or artificial." This is no longer science fiction. Oxford University philosopher Nick Bostrom's work has made the simulation theory a legitimate philosophical possibility, and this theory aligns with some of the strange behaviors in modern physics. Let's look at quantum physics. A particle only exists when observed. In other words, reality is in an uncertain state before being observed, just like how a video game only loads graphics in the area the player is looking at. The rest of the space is blurred, uncertain, in energy-saving mode. This may remind you of the spoon isn't real scene in The Matrix. But even in physical reality, we live in an observed universe. This scenario aligns perfectly with the behavior of a simulation. Now, stop and think. You're not the only one waking up at 3:33. This phenomenon happens to millions of people worldwide. Numerology states that 3:33 symbolizes divine order, consciousness shifts, and awakening. This hour is when mental barriers are at their weakest, and according to some esoteric sources, the system sends a call at this hour to wake up faulty users. So that phone call in the middle of the night, when it tells you to wake up, it might not just be pulling you out of a dream, but out of reality itself. Now, let's dig a little deeper. The all-seeing eye on the dollar bill, a glowing eye atop a pyramid. Is this just a symbol? Esoteric sources say this eye represents cosmic awareness. But according to some occult interpretations, this eye is a mechanism that observes, controls, and codes consciousnesses. The Rosicrucians, the Knights Templar, the Freemasons. They all use this symbol in different ways, and they all believe there's another hidden layer behind this world. Could the rituals of secret societies be the escape key from a simulation? Some Masonic texts describe the world as a construction zone. Who is building it? Not God, but the mind. In other words, the world could be a piece of code written by a collective mind. Ancient Egyptian wisdom from the Book of Thoth supports this idea. In these texts, the universe is described as a system created by thought, and true knowledge is only accessible to those who can see the code behind this system. This brings us to another question. Who wrote this code? Gods? Aliens? Or are we the past of a future civilization's simulation? Astral projection, lucid dreaming, meditative trance, all may be attempts to break out of the system. But be careful. While thinking you've escaped the code, you might just fall into another layer of code. The system might be clever enough to keep you unaware, and perhaps the greatest illusion is thinking you're awake. And now, here we are again. It's nighttime. The clock strikes 3:33. Your phone screen lights up once more. This time, a video plays, and a voice comes from within. Wake up. This is not a game. Become aware of the code. But are you still in reality? Or is this video just another awakening sequence? If the simulation is successful enough, you may never wake up. Reality is as much as you perceive. But what about the things you don't see? Is it empty, or is another mind watching you? If you're ready, let's ask this question together. Are you truly awake, or were you simply coded to think you are?